I want to tell you a brief story about what I did yesterday, namely because I feel like while it was mundane, I think it was kind of interesting because it reminded me of someone I used to be and like how I used to feel about things all the time. See, when I was making videos on this channel, when I was like 17, 16, 18, I often talked about this idea of novel states of consciousness. And it wasn't just because I was experimenting with a lot of different drugs back then, reading a lot of new books that I had never really read anything like, and for that matter, I hadn't been exposed to any media like it. It wasn't just because I was learning about all sorts of new ideas and concepts from lectures and podcasts and from my own research. And it wasn't just because in the context of all of that and in the context of my developing brain, everything felt so new and exciting and beautiful. It was also because I had a certain mindset about the world. Like, I just listed a lot of stuff that is pretty common for curious kids to go through, cycles of learning and growth and development, and the neurogenesis that comes with that, as well as the neurogenesis that comes with age. You know, you end up just feeling like everything is so novel and beautiful and amazing and new. But I don't think this was a purely developmental phenomenon. I think there's also... So, my camcorder actually ran out, so I am going to record the rest of this video on my iPod Touch 4th generation. Anyway, I think it had a lot to do with the mindset that I had at the time and how I looked at the world. And the reason yesterday, again, despite being a mundane day, made me think about this was because yesterday I was in a very novel state of mind that, while uncomfortable, I quite enjoyed. Now, what do I mean by this? I had gone to sleep, as I typically do, in the middle of the day. And I had only been through like a couple hours of my sleep cycle before being woke up by my father. He just barged in the apartment, was talking to my wife, and, you know, they were talking about various things. He was behaving like a strange goober as usual. And he comes into our room and wakes me up and is like, "Hey, you gotta go to the grocery." And I was just like getting my bearings, waking up. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
You woke up like so shocked.
Yeah, then my wife
like
is
you were getting like no-knock rated or some shit.
Yeah, yeah, she said that I woke up so shocked. I don't know about all that, but I woke up, I guess, relatively surprised. I'll put it like that. You know, on the one hand, physically, it didn't feel great to wake up in that kind of way, but on the other hand, it was kind of a novel sensation because I wasn't perceiving the world like through my eyes and the sensory processing that goes through in my mind. I wasn't sensing the world at like 100%, right? Like if you get a full night's sleep, maybe you have that caffeine in the morning, and you've been exercising and eating right, and you're in a positive state of mind, you don't have anything really fogging your mental state, you can perceive the world at 100%, and you don't have any weird fogginess that's like making your vision look blurry, or causing your thoughts to slow down, or causing you not to think about things at quite the same rate. I was in like a almost dream-like state, at least for a little while there, as I was doing everything. And again, for most people, this is tremendously uncomfortable, especially like people who have to work or go to school or whatever, or, you know, sometimes obligations like going to the grocery store like I had to. But because it had been so long since I really was thrust into a situation like that, like with other people that I like being around, which in this case is my family, I was all for it, right? And it had been a bit since I had really been significantly out of the house. So I was just like, fuck yeah, let's go. And as we were riding in the car and I was cracking jokes and we were getting everything done, all those different things, I had a moment, I had this little light bulb moment where I was like, I really like this, I really like this state of mind that I'm in and the way that I'm perceiving things. Like, yeah, it's a little bit uncomfortable, it's a little bit unnerving and unwieldy, but like, this is also extremely unique in the context of my life at this point. And that novelty, as uncomfortable as it may be, is worth something in and of itself. And this is what I attempted to articulate in my video, which is titled, I Like Getting Sick. You guys remember that one? It's like a 3-minute video where I explained in a very matter-of-fact way that I like getting sick because of this exact phenomenon that I'm explaining. Because of this dynamic where being sick is a novel kind of experience. It's a different way of sensing and perceiving life, and therefore it's good on the merits of that alone, even though it comes with all these really negative side effects and all these things that aren't the most comfortable. They become positive in this context, like in this context of how I ultimately interpret the situation, in the context of my mindset, right? And so I felt myself like feeling closer to who I was when I was younger in that moment, and I still feel that now on this very new day. And I want to keep in touch with that because I was extremely happy at that time, not in every way, but in a lot of ways. And I feel like a lot of what I've been missing from my life has been precisely that youthful zeal, that sense of novelty in all these little things. And so it's like that old saying goes, when you have lemons, make lemonade. That's precisely what I was doing in that situation. I took my situation and I changed how I was looking at it, how I was orienting it in my mind, and then I got a whole new experience out of it. I enjoyed myself. So, that's really what it's about. It's about how you look at life. And if you look at life in the right way, you can be enjoying life.